Ahmed Kathrada was a close friend of Nelson Mandela, the first democratically elected president of South Africa. Both Kathrada and Mandela were imprisoned on Robben Island, just off the coast of Cape Town, for fighting against racism. Kathrada has made at least 300 trips to Robben Island after his release. He has shown many visitors what prison life was like for him and Mandela, and his guests have included a range of people, including global celebrities.
Well, you're a young person, so you're quite familiar with Beyonce. Well, there she is on the photograph there. It's the two of us together on a ferry. People ask now, you've been with Beyonce, you've been with Obama, you've been with Clinton. What are they like? To me, they're all the same, because I do the talking. There's little interaction. They question, but the one person I can identify who made the biggest impact is this young girl here, Shia, little Afrikaner girl, 13-year-old, from Secunda, which is supposed to be in a very right-wing Afrikaner area. She was 13 and with leukemia, and she knew she was dying. But she had two wishes, last wishes. One, to visit Robben Island, and I took her around, and two, to meet President Mandela. So I then asked him whether I could bring this child to see him. And typical of him, he said, no, it's too much trouble for her. Let's rather go to her. So to cut a long story short, we arranged for him to go to Secunda, and the word spread. So the whole of Secunda turned up, and he had this. A few months ago, I visited the parents, and also to pay my respects to her grave. And they showed me a video and two albums of photographs of his visit to Secunda. How do I forget her name? But it'll come back, because I speak to her about all the time. But that is the one visit that is outstanding in my mind, out of the 300 visits, precisely because she was a child, and a child of 13, whose dying wish is to visit Robben Island and to meet President Mandela. That makes her very special. For the first years, from 94 to 99, I was working in Madiba's office, and obviously 99% of the requests came to him to visit Robben Island with him, and obviously he couldn't do that, so he used to send me along. The only two occasions I can think of when he himself accompanied people was with Clinton and with the Prime Minister of Norway. To my mind, I think those are the only two occasions. The rest of the times, every request he got while we were in his office, he sent me along. My very first visit to Robben Island after release was about a year after the release, was with a French television group. That was the first time I went back to the island. And that was quite a traumatic experience, because by that time one is used to space, bigger flats, bigger houses, halls, and so forth. And it's traumatic to just look at those cells, tiny cells, And you want to know how did I spend 18 years of my life in this little place. But that was the first visit. Afterwards, it just became a routine. As I said, I've been there 300 times. Even Obama, it's just routine. Because I'm not used to sort of so-called celebrities. And the first time you accompany celebrities is something new. Although, I was used to seeing them in the president's office, but taking them to the island was different. The questions generally asked is the same thing, how did you survive? What did you do to spare your time? Were you assaulted? All kinds of. And then there are different questions when I meet with groups of children. Last week I went to a school in Johannesburg with little kids, and their questions are completely very basic. So the questions differ between adults and kids. The basic memory of Robben Island shouldn't be the suffering that people take for granted. It's the triumph of the human spirit, as I mentioned, that prison imprisonment in apartheid times and prison imprisonment even now is to crush the spirit of the people. So our basic message was, it was victory. It's not the suffering that you should be emphasized, it's the victory. Because seldom in the history of the world did you have a situation where almost literally from prison to parliament to president within a short space of time. So that is victory. Well, the message we really try to convey, even now, through our foundation, when we meet younger people in particular, is to emphasize that everything that was closed before, take it sports, take it anything, universities, schools, is now open. But they must remember that freedom did not fall from heaven. With freedom comes responsibility, particularly on the shoulders of young people who constitute the majority of the population of this country. So play as much as you can, because young people have to play and take advantage of all that, but study and never forget that you have the responsibility coming with freedom, responsibility to yourselves, to your parents, but more importantly to the country. Freedom did not come from heaven. I think that's about the basic message that that with freedom comes responsibility, and that is what we try to convey, and that's a lesson we learned from Madiba. When he was, when the delegation from the National Executive went to see him and said he's going to be the candidate for presidency. At first he refused. He said that's a position for a younger person. So the delegation went back and came back to him. The National Executive says you should be the one. He then said, okay, I'll agree, provided it's for one term only. So one takes a lesson from him, that in any position of that nature, you don't hog the position over and over unless circumstances demand it. In his case, he should have continued for another 5 years, but fortunately Thabo was there and he was adequately fit to take on that position. So it was comfortably, he retired comfortably, knowing that Thabo will be taking his place. Well, that was the most difficult speech that I've ever given. I had seen him before that in hospital when he could not speak well, his pipes in his mouth and so forth. So in that short time, and deliberately of course, I didn't want to spend more time because it's pressure on him. So he held on to my hands tightly, and mostly he could respond by shaking, because as I said, there was his pipes. And that's the last I saw him before his death. But when I saw him, I knew that that's the last I'll see him alive. It was just a matter of time that we wouldn't have him anymore. So I remember I was at a meeting in Johannesburg, a small meeting, and I had already got the message that he won't last the night. But I didn't want to tell the people. It was very difficult once I got the message that he won't last. Difficult not to tell the people, difficult for me to stay on. But I managed to go through that, because to me, after Sisulu's death, Sisulu was like a father to me, literally, because my father died when I was 14. And then came Madiba. Now, in fact, for all my even private needs, I could go to work. And with most private, for instance, I get involved with a white woman in the apartheid times. I go to work. I said, look, I go to nobody else. I go to Walter. I'm involved with this white woman as the Immorality Act. If we get arrested, it reflects negatively on the organization. And being Walter, he said, look, we are against all apartheid laws, including this one. Just be careful. And if the two of you get arrested, we are behind you. So that was the message. After his passing, I could turn to Madiba for similar things. I mean, I can't think of a similar instance, but I could turn to him, which I did for other things. And as I said in my speech, both of them are gone now. I don't know who to turn to. My father is gone, Sisulu. My elder brother is gone. That's Madiba. Because that's the thing I had to clarify even yesterday in an article that's going to come in the Post, that I never referred to him as my friend. He is 11 years older than I was. So I never called him my friend. He was my elder brother. So I ended by saying that my father Sisulu is gone, my elder brother is gone. Who do I turn to? There's nobody. There's just nobody that I can turn to. That's my position at the moment. I mean, I discuss with various people, but nobody of the stature that I can have fullest confidence in them. There's just no individual. With due respect to everybody.
I'm gonna do a selfie with you.
You know where I heard this selfie for the first time?
Wait.
Michelle Obama.
Yeah. Okay, oops. Okay, got it.